I want you to picture your bathroom cabinet or your kitchen counter. Maybe you're like me and you have this lovely little basket of supplements wherever your supplements are located. I want you to either go look at it or just picture it in your mind. For those of you watching on YouTube, you just saw mine. It's very cluttered at the moment. And I want you to think about how many of those bottles you bought because you were scared into buying them, or because a post on social media told you that your cortisol was wrecking your body, or your blood sugar, you have insulin resistance and you need such and such. Maybe you also have the whole castor oil get up. And if you don't know what that is, I encourage you to look at it. It's a wrap and oil and all of this protocol that you can do. I want you to also think if maybe you bought a couple of those because an ad that you saw promised that this one would be the thing, like this would be the final thing that would like encapsulate this result that you are pining for. Or maybe you could have also bought them because someone with great lighting and a calm voice told you that your fatigue and your belly or your anxiety or anything really, or everything maybe would lift, right? It would go away if you just took this certain supplement. And then I want you to think about how many of those bottles actually changed anything. I'm not asking to shame you. I just showed you mine. I have the same thing. I have a bottle that helps with insulin resistance. I have a bottle that helps with thyroid. I have bottles that promised that they would help with weight loss and appetite and things like that. I think if not 100% of women out there, at least 95 to 98% of us at some point in time has done any, if not multiple, of those things that I just said. And I'm asking because today we're going to talk about cortisol supplements specifically. And I want to save you money, and I want to save you the disappointment. And most of all, I want to save you from the belief that the answer to how you feel or how you look is sitting in a bottle that you haven't bought yet. Because here's the truth we're building toward today. The supplement industry has done something actually really brilliant and a little bit cruel. It took a real world, sorry, not world. Well, I guess you could say world, but a real word, cortisol, right? A real world thing, and attached it to your real suffering and sold you a solution that mostly doesn't do what you think it does. And today we are going to sort out what's real from what's something that you can stop guessing. Welcome back to Healing Her Feminine. I'm Lindsey Alexis, functional hormone and nervous system coach, and I am very happy you guys are here. This is part 3 of our series called Hormone Culture Is Lying to You, or The Cortisol Trend is Lying to You, whichever one resonates most. In episode 1, we laid out the entirety of this cortisol trend and why it is rebranded diet culture. In episode 2, we took apart the cortisol belly term specifically and showed that, again, it is just a marketing term. It is not a diagnosis. And if you haven't heard those 2 episodes, then I encourage you to definitely go back, because those are going to build this foundation that we're going to continue over the next few weeks, including today. But if you are jumping in right here, then welcome. And I will catch you up as best as I can as we go, but you can always go back and listen to those 2 episodes after you have listened to this one. Okay. Today, we are tackling the part of the trend that actually costs you money. Cortisol supplements, the ashwagandha blends. That's the favorite one. The adaptogen cocktails full of different mushroom varieties. The cortisol manager formulas, the adrenal support pills, all of it. We are going to talk about what these actually do in your body, which ingredients have real science, and which are just riding this wave of hype. Why even the ones that do work, quote unquote work, often don't solve your actual problem. They solve something else. And most importantly, what genuinely supports your stress response and your hormones instead. So we're going to break all this down, and then I am going to give you an answer. By the end, you'll be able to walk past the hopeful bottle or pick it up knowing exactly what it can and cannot do, which is exactly what I have done with the bottles that you see. Probably out of the ones that I showed you, I probably take 3, maybe 4 of them. Either way, you guys are going to be free of this fear that is driving all of those purchases, right? Or the lies that you have been told. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start by understanding why this market is so enormous, because understanding the machine kind of helps you take it apart and see through it. The supplement industry, especially the part that is focused on stress and hormones now, is built on a perfect storm of factors. First, you actually have real suffering, right? Women genuinely feel tired, anxious. We feel wired. We feel puffy. A lot of us feel stuck. I get that a lot. I am doing all the things. My blood tests are normal. What is going on? That is stuck. That is not imaginary. Second, you have a medical system that often dismisses a lot of these complaints, which is really unfortunate. You go to the doctor, your labs come back normal, and you're told that you are fine. And you leave just feeling really defeated, like you have more questions than you have answers. You definitely feel unseen, and you still are suffering. And they gave you nothing. The third thing is that there's this gap, right? There's this gap, and within the gap of, this is my symptoms, these are my problems, I went to the doctor, they said there's nothing that they can do. That gap, that's the supplement industry, which says, we see you, we believe you, and we have the answers that the doctors missed. And honestly, that third part is seductive because it contains a half truth. The medical system often does miss the functional root cause picture. We've talked about this before. Your suffering often is real when your labs are normal. We have talked about this before. So when the supplement world validates all of that, it earns your trust. And then it monetizes that trust. Here's the key thing to understand about supplements as an industry, okay? In the United States, supplements are not regulated the way that medications are. A company does not have to prove that a supplement works before selling it. They don't have to prove that the dose is effective. They often don't have to prove that what's on the label is actually what's in the bottle. Shocker, I know. I did a series on this too. Studies have repeatedly found that supplements contain far more or far less or just completely different ingredients than what is actually claimed. The marketing claims are carefully worded to imply benefits without legally promising them. Things like supports healthy cortisol levels, promotes a sense of calm, helps maintain energy. These are the phrases that are designed to sound like promises while committing to nothing. There's also a really good book that I read many years ago that I still recommend today. Maybe they've updated it to a new version. I will have to put it in the show notes as to what the actual name is. But it was these two women who wrote this book, and they were doctors, and they dove into the supplement industry, did their own testing, did their own research, and the things that they found were very shocking, a lot of which I just mentioned. So I will pop that in the show notes so that you guys can go check that book out. I got it from the library. I'm sure it's at y'all's libraries too, if you do not feel like committing to buying it off of Amazon or at your bookstore. So I will do that to help you guys. For those of you who are more inquisitive minds and need more information on the supplement industry, it's really good information. So going back to our conversation, the cortisol supplement market is enormous, not because these supplements are powerfully effective, okay, but because the conditions are really perfect, okay? Real suffering, a dismissive medical system, an unregulated industry, and fear-based marketing. That is the whole machine. Let's look at what's actually in these bottles. So I do want to be fair here, because being honest means giving credit where it is due. Some of the ingredients in these formulas do have real research behind them. And as you can see, I am not anti-supplement. I take supplements. I just want you to be more aware, more intellectually savvy when it comes to looking at a supplement label, because just like you need to look at nutrition labels for the foods that you eat, for the ingredients that are in there, the same thing applies with supplements. Do not just take their word for the way it's advertised or what's on the bottle. Let's start with the biggest one, ashwagandha, because it is literally the star of almost every cortisol product. Ashwagandha is an adaptogenic herb used in Ayurvedic medicine for centuries. I'm also a big proponent of Ayurvedic medicine, because when I do my 90-day coaching with people, I look at your dosha and we decide what benefits it and what hinders it. Okay. So ashwagandha actually has some of the better research among stress supplements. Several studies have shown that ashwagandha can modestly reduce perceived stress and anxiety. And some show a real reduction in cortisol levels in chronically stressed people. So ashwagandha is not snake oil. It's legit, if modest, effects. But here's the nuance that the marketing kind of skips. The effect is modest. It's not transformative. It helps take the edge off chronically stressed people. Some people, not even all people. It's not going to melt away your belly fat. It's not going to fix your hormones. It's not going to resolve the root cause of your dysregulation. And it works best in genuinely, chronically stressed people, not as a magic optimizer for everybody. Also, the dose and the quality matter enormously. Many products underdose or use low quality extracts. So, ashwagandha, real, modest, helpful for some, definitely oversold. There's also evidence I want to note here. If you are a type O blood type, and I've said this many times before, be careful with ashwagandha. And you can dive into the research on why that is. But the content of our blood, the acidity of our blood as type O's, doesn't really mesh well with the ashwagandha. And again, that's just skimming the surface of that reason. That's not me going into scientific detail. You guys can Google that. You can look that up and dive deeper into the actual scientific research around that blood type and this herb. Okay. The next one. And I always encourage you guys to take what I say and go do some further research yourself, because me standing here on this podcast telling you these things is not me telling you what to do. This is me leading you in a direction to help you better with you. I cannot give you blanket statements, and I cannot give you precise information on your circumstance. It bothers me to no end when people use resources like podcasts and YouTube videos and social media posts to diagnose themselves, to try to heal themselves, to try to do the things that the people are saying as just general blanket statements. You guys know I practice functional medicine. I practice that personalized healthcare. I will love to jump on a phone call with you. I have the rooted reset for 90 minutes. And by doing that, I can better navigate with you what exactly you need, supplements included. Or you can do my 90-day program, which is much more in depth, and it holds the accountability for you for the long term. Again, we dive really, really deep into you so that I can give you the proper information. Me standing here today telling you about the supplements is not me saying you go need these, go buy these, you need these. Okay. I just want to make that clear. This is just information, education that comes from me. Okay, cool. Magnesium. Magnesium is next. And I love magnesium. Magnesium takes on so many different shapes and forms. And each one have their own function in the body. So a lot of these cortisol supporting or cortisol balancing, however you want to phrase the marketing of it, magnesium is genuinely important, and most people are deficient in it, along with vitamin D. It's involved in literally hundreds of processes in your body, from your stress response to how you sleep, to blood sugar regulation, muscle relaxation. Supplementing with magnesium forms like magnesium glycinate, or some people call it chelated magnesium, it will genuinely help with sleep and relaxation and stress resilience. This is one that I think is actually worth it for most women to be taking. Again, I personally take this one. But notice it's not a cortisol supplement. It's a foundational nutrient that most people are lacking, and the cortisol marketing wraps it up in this stress language. All right. Then we have L-theanine. This is an amino acid that is found in green tea. Where's my matcha people at? It has decent research for promoting calm focus without making you groggy or extra tired. It's gentle, relatively well studied, and can help with the whole wired and tired feeling. Again, it's helpful, modest, but it's not transformative. Phosphatidylserine, that's a big word, has some research suggesting that it can blunt cortisol response, particularly exercise stress. The evidence here is a lot thinner, and the doses in studies are often higher than what is actually in products. Rhodiola. I take this one. It's another adaptogen. It has some evidence for fatigue and stress resilience, particularly burnout type fatigue. And some people respond really well to it. This was one of the options if you are blood type O instead of taking ashwagandha. And that is exactly why I take it. Again, you guys can dive deeper and do your own research into that as well. So we have a list of real ingredients here. If I'm being completely fair, a well-formulated stress supplement with adequately dosed ashwagandha, magnesium, L-theanine could genuinely take some edge off of your stress for a while. I won't pretend otherwise. But here's the part that matters most. And it's the part the whole industry is built on hoping that you never fully grasp. Even if a supplement modestly lowers your cortisol or makes you feel a bit calmer, it does not address why your cortisol was dysregulated in the first place. So think about what cortisol dysregulation actually is. We talked about this. It's your body's stress response system being stuck in the on position on some level. Your body believes, therefore, that it is not safe. The elevated or erratic cortisol is the smoke. It's not the fire. The fire is whatever is making your nervous system feel unsafe. And that can be chronic stress, but it could also be poor sleep, blood sugar chaos, that roller coaster that we've talked about in other episodes. It could be nutrient deficiencies. It could be unprocessed emotional load. It could be that you're over exercising. You could be under eating. It could be a relentless schedule you never fully feel safe in. It could be traffic, right? Real life circumstances. A supplement that lowers cortisol is just treating the smoke. We talked about the house and the doormat in the last episode. So it might make the room feel a little less smoky for a while, but the fire is still burning. And the moment you stop taking the supplement, or the moment life gets a little harder, smoke just is going to come right back because you never put out the fire. And this is why so many women ride the supplement carousel for years. They feel a little better for a few weeks on a new thing, but then it stops working and they go on to the next new thing. And then that one works for a little bit, but then it stops. And it's not because they keep choosing bad supplements. It's because supplements by nature address symptoms and not the root causes. And the root of cortisol dysregulation is almost never a missing supplement or nutrient. It's a nervous system that needs to feel safe. It's a body that needs to be nourished. It is a life that needs more rest and less chronic pressure. So let me give you an analogy. Imagine your phone keeps showing a low battery warning all day long. You could buy a really nice case that hides the warning notification. That's the supplement. The warning is less annoying now, but your phone is still dying because the actual problem is that you're not charging it, or maybe there's an app that's draining it in the background. Hiding the warning doesn't charge the phone. Lowering your cortisol with a pill doesn't address why the system is depleted. So when someone asks me, Lindsey, should I take a cortisol supplement? My answer is almost always going to be that that's the wrong question. The right question is, what is making my body feel unsafe? And how do I address that? Because that's where the actual healing is, and no bottle contains that. Now, I don't want to leave you thinking that all supplements are pointless, because that is also not true. Some supplements genuinely matter, not because they lower cortisol, but because they fill real discrepancies that are making your body struggle. The difference is the frame. So we're not chasing after cortisol. We're supporting the actual systems that your body uses to regulate itself. So if you want to spend money on supplements that actually do something, then here's where I'd look. And I always say this with the caveat that, again, this is education. It's not going to be personalized medical advice. And you should work with someone or myself who knows that specific situation. Magnesium. As I said, most people are deficient, and it is foundational for stress, sleep, and blood sugar. Magnesium glycinate, or chelated magnesium, is gentle and it is the most well absorbed. This is probably the single most worth it supplement for most stressed women. I mentioned earlier too that vitamin D, most women are deficient in vitamin D, which affects your mood, it affects your immune function, and it also affects your hormone production. There's even some research that it affects your sleep as well, because it does help with the whole hormonal process of your circadian rhythm. So get tested and then supplement to bring your levels into a good range. The next one that I also take myself are omega-3 fatty acids. It helps with inflammation and brain and hormonal health. So if you're not eating fatty fish regularly, things like salmon, then I suggest that you take this. I use Mary Ruth's gummies. I think Thorne might have some. Always look at the quality of the brand and their third-party testing when deciding what to take. The reason why I take Mary Ruth's gummies is because it's not just omega-3, it's also 6, 7, and 9. And it's all plant-based. So essentially what is, I don't want to say causing, but what provides the omega-3 is not the actual fish. It is what the fish is eating, which is plankton and plants. So if you can bypass the fish, because a lot of people don't like the, like with fish oils and stuff, like they don't like that fishy taste in their supplements, bypass it, go straight to the source. And that's why I take that one. I personally haven't done research on thorns, but I like that brand too. So you guys can go check that one out as well. Another thing or supplements are B vitamins, particularly if you are depleted from chronic stress. If you know you have some anemia problems, vitamin B also helps with that as well. And your body is going to burn through these B vitamins quicker if you are more chronically stressed. So they're essential for energy and for hormone production. That's why people go do the B12 injections and shots and stuff too. Then, depending on your individual picture, things like iron, if you're deficient, like I just mentioned, anemic, or if you're menstruating, or even if you're going through the transition, the iron is going to support you specifically. Other ones would be thyroid or gut support, things like probiotics and prebiotics for the gut. I take a seaweed blend for thyroid because thyroid problems run in my family. So I have tried to, over the years, get in front of that by taking a seaweed blend supplement. And so far, knock on wood, it has helped. All of these really need to be tested in your bloodstream, and then a practitioner needs to give you the proper dosage and advice if you are low or deficient on any of these. Do not guess. Do not guess at any of these things that I have mentioned. And if you guys need the advice on how to go about talking to your doctor and advocating for your health when it comes to conversations like these, I have a resource that I can put in the show notes for you for this. So notice what this list is. It's not exciting. It's not a cortisol manager. It's not a cortisol protocol. It has nothing really to do with cortisol directly at all. It is just foundational nutrients that your body actually needs, and it may be lacking because most women are lacking in these things. That's the unglamorous truth. The supplements that help are usually basic, foundational, boring ones that just fill real gaps. They're not the trendy ones with scary marketing. And here's something that I want you to really hear. Supplements should be filling the gap. They should be filling the gap in an already solid foundation. The supplements, they're there to support the foundation. That's the word supplement, right? To supplement means you already have the baseline going. Now we're just filling in the gaps. So if your sleep is a wreck, or your blood sugar is on a roller coaster, or if you're under eating or over exercised, or any of the things that I just read to you previously, no supplement is going to save you. The supplements work when they are sitting on top of a real foundation of food, of quality sleep, of movement, of nervous system care and regulation. Without that foundation, you're just decorating a house that has no walls. So let me slow it down here because there's a deeper piece that I don't want you to miss. I feel like I keep saying I don't want you to miss this, but all of this is so important. There's a reason we reach for the bottle. And it's not out of weakness or laziness, okay? It's just out of hope, right? It's out of hope and also a sense of control, that we can control the outcome because we're hopeful that this supplement is going to work. So when you are actually suffering and you feel like your body has betrayed you, then buying a supplement is a simple act of hope. It's saying, maybe this will be the thing. Maybe I'll finally feel better. And it's an act of control in a situation that truly deeply feels out of your own control. You can't always fix the chronic stress, the finances, the relationship, the schedule, the traffic, the kids who are struggling, the life that is literally pressing in on you. But you can buy the bottle. You can do the thing. It gives you something to do with the helplessness that a lot of us feel. And I want to honor that because that is just deeply human. Reaching for a bottle is really reaching for hope and agency, and those are good things to actually want. But here's the gentle truth. The hope is being exploited. The marketing knows that you're reaching for hope and control, and it sells you a bottle that gives you the feeling of those things without the actual substance of them. And every time that the bottle doesn't work, it doesn't just cost you money. It costs you a little bit of hope. It reinforces the story that your body is broken and that it's unfixable. Because look, you tried the thing and it didn't work. The carousel, it doesn't just drain your wallet, it's literally draining your faith in your own body. So here's what I want to offer you instead. Real hope, real agency, they don't come in a bottle. They come from understanding your body and giving it what it actually needs. And the beautiful thing about that is, unlike the bottle, it actually works. And it compounds. Every night of good sleep builds on the last. Every balanced meal teaches your body that it's safe and it's nourished. Every walk, every moment of genuine rest, every time you down-regulate your nervous system, you're putting out a little more of that fire, bit by bit. And that's where the real agency is, not in the purchase, but in the practice. Not in the bottle, but in the body. And it's free, or close to it. That's the part of the industry will never tell you. The most powerful interventions for your cortisol and your hormones, sleep, food, rest, safety, movement, they're all largely free. They just can't be sold to you. So nobody markets them with great lighting and a calm voice because they're the real medicine. And like I said, again, it's something that literally can't be sold. So let's get practical. If you're standing in front of the supplement aisle or the website and you have your credit card out, here's what I want you to do instead. First, pause and ask, is my foundation actually solid? Am I sleeping 7 to 9 hours? Am I eating enough protein and not riding the blood sugar roller coaster? Am I moving in a way that feels good, not punishing? You're not pushing yourself. You're not hustling. Am I getting any genuine rest and nervous system downtime throughout the day? Are you taking a moment to go for a walk? Are you taking a moment to read a book, to journal, to do the things? If the answer to those are no, that's where your energy and money should go first. No supplement is going to outperform fixing those. Second, if your foundation is solid and you want to supplement, start with the boring ones, that actually fill the real gaps. Consider actual testing for vitamin D, for iron, get a complete blood panel so that you're supplementing based on data and you're not just guessing. And you can go, as far as I am aware, you can go to one of the clinics. You don't have to go through your doctor necessarily. But don't quote me on that. You will need your doctor to interpret them, though. Or you can get somebody like me to help you interpret them. Another one is the chelated magnesium glycinate. It's a reasonable place to start for most people for sleep and stress. And honestly, that's the first supplement that I actually suggest to many people when I ask them, well, do you wake up well rested? 9 times out of 10, it's no. The next one, if you want to try something like ashwagandha for stress, go into it with like realistic expectations. Know that it's modest, that it works best on top of that real foundation, that quality and dose, that matters. And it's not about solving your root cause, right? This is a support. So treat it as such. It's a support system. It's not going to save you from stress. It's not going to save all of you from all these symptoms that you're having from stress. Stress is going to be the thing that you have to face head on and clear out. The last one, the fourth one, and most importantly, redirect the energy you've been spending on the supplement search, right? Trying to find the right supplement, listening to people who tell you which supplements to take because you have XYZ happening. Redirect all of that energy toward what the actual root is. So ask the bigger question: what is making my body feel unsafe? And what would it look like to actually address that? Because that's the question that changes everything. And it's the question that we explore together in my programs, more specifically the Rooted Reset. Because here's the thing, figuring out your actual root cause is what's really driving your fatigue. It's why you're stuck at the weight that you're stuck at. It's why you have your dysregulation, and it's hard to do it alone, especially when you're standing inside of it in the middle. It's like trying to read the label from inside the bottle. That's what the Rooted Reset is for. It's a 90-minute one-to-one session where we look at your actual body, your real symptoms, your sleep, your stress, your nervous system, your hormones, your digestion, and how everything is talking together. We look at what you've done in the past and what your goals are for the future. We also look at anything familial, right? Anything that might have happened as a child, right? Like we really dive really deep into getting to know. And like I mentioned earlier, even your dosha and your blood type are part of all of this analysis that I do. So we dive really deep into these aspects of you. And together we find what the actual fire is, not just the smoke. So instead of you guessing your way through the supplement aisle for another year, you walk away from this 90-minute call with a clear, personalized understanding of what your body specifically actually needs. And I'm giving you a blueprint to address it. And I give you this blueprint literally within 48 hours because it's going to take me time after the call to run through everything and go through my process of sorting out exactly what your next steps are going to be, because I want it to be accurate. I don't want to give you blanket statements. I don't want to give you like general advice. It's got to be specific to you and your body and what's happening in your life. So it's $147, which, if you think about it, is probably less money than many of you have spent on supplements in the past few months. Personally, I know there was a point where I was spending $250 at least a month on supplements. So for 90 minutes, $147 gets you through the door with the proper data, with the proper information as to what to do next. And you will actually see the needle move, not the weight needle necessarily. I mean, that is a subset, but healing your body is the goal. Weight loss is just a symptom that happens because we are healing your body, right? But it moves your needle in regard to healing. And that's the difference. It's addressing the root. And you can book it. There's a link in the show notes that I give you, but you guys can book it through that link. If you are tired of this carousel of supplements and you're tired of buying bottles of hope that don't deliver, then this is how you step off of it and finally understand your own body. And I would absolutely love to spend that 90 minutes with you. So here's your practice for this week. And I want you to go to wherever your supplements live, the drawer, the cabinet, the counter, the basket. And I want you to take everything out and I want you to look at it. And for each bottle, ask yourself 3 questions. Do I actually know why I'm taking this, or did I buy it out of fear or hope? Have I noticed any real difference from it? Honestly. Is this filling a real foundational need, or is it chasing a symptom? You don't have to throw anything away. You don't have to change anything yet. Just get honest about what's actually in your routine and why. Awareness first, always. You might be surprised how many bottles you're taking out of hope rather than evidence. And you might find a few that are genuinely serving you. Either way, you're taking back agency and you're becoming the discerning one instead of the marketed to one. So let me bring us home. Cortisol supplements are mostly selling you hope in a bottle. A few ingredients have real, modest, not transformative effects. Most are riding the trend. And even the ones that work are treating the smoke, not the fire. Because the root of your dysregulation was never a missing supplement. It was a body asking to feel safe. I was going to say real safety, same thing. To feel nourished and to be well rested. The real medicine, the foundational stuff, sleep, food, movement, rest, nervous system safety, it can't be bottled to you and sold, which is exactly why no one's marketing it to you. But it is the actual thing that works. So you don't need another bottle. You just need to understand that your body is asking for certain things. And that's what you have to give it. That knowledge, that information, that intuition, you already have access to. So thank you guys for being here today, and thank you for being willing to question the bottle before you buy it. That discernment is its own kind of healing. Next week, we're continuing the series, and we're going to be talking about cortisol and food, the meal timing myths, don't drink coffee at this hour kind of rules, what actually matters about how and when you eat. So until then, be gentle with yourself and maybe leave one hopeful bottle on the shelf this week. Your body has been trying to tell you the answer was never in it anyways. I'm Lindsey Alexis. Take good care of yourself.